So you would say that you've got a turtle head poking out?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of butt stuff, I had an interesting dream, Dead Palette.
That where every man and child will be judged on the content of their butt plugs.
Yes, exactly. I dreamt that I was listening to an episode of Undercooked Analysis. And you, Dead Palette, were recounting a story of something that had happened to you. It was like a cold opening. It was an interesting story.
As all my stories are.
Yes. You had stopped at a truck stop and went into the men's room where another patron had fisted you. And David said, did he at least ask first? Ha ha ha. And you said, what are you, retarded? The fact that he didn't ask is what made it hot. And I was like, I woke up and I was like, well, fuck. I think I just dreamt the future. I don't know. Seems plausible. Seems plausible.
Jesus Christ.
Seems legit.
That is.
And then David woke up from your dream and was very scared of his penis. And then I woke up from a dream, and here I am.
Can we talk about David getting super insecure about a fear that he doesn't actually have? About me telling the world about a fear he doesn't actually have.
Well, for everybody listening, David is not really scared of his penis. Don't worry about it. It's a meme. We memed a bit too hard. But yeah.
Debatable. Because that is so good. The idea of him clawing to get away from his penis every time he wakes up is him just waking up in a cold sweat.
Ah!
It's honestly more funny, you and Alan laughing at how pissed off he is. Because it's less that he's like, I'm not scared of my penis, that's stupid. I think you guys had like an 18-minute cold open for that episode. So it was just utterly late on everything, and it was hilarious.
And the thing is, if David actually was pissed off about it, it wouldn't have been in the episode, but it was, so you know.
Yeah.
You know that there's some good-natured self-deprecation, but yeah.
That he was like, why are the jokes always at my expense? And I'm like, dude, the overarching joke is that I am a critic who is illiterate of the thing that he is supposed to be criticizing. This is something I grew up with. I have a mental disability. Do you think people didn't make fun of me as a kid? Do you not think that it's something I'm sensitive about? No, I fucking embrace it. It's hilarious.
So yeah, we've
or
got
that Alan is racist as hell.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's a pretty heavy one.
So everybody's scared of something on Undercooked Analysis, I guess is what we're coming away with here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but what I'm scared of, what I'm scared of,
what I'm scared of is that book reading.
what I'm scared of is losing my friends.
Oh. Maybe the real literacy is the friends we made along the way.
Yes, precisely.
So are we? What topic are we discussing? I kind of am putting you guys on the spot because I posted the list of topics in the chat, and now that I'm actually recording, I'm just gonna pose to you. So, what's our topic?
Number 5
is MatPat a homosexual Mormon?
Is that it? That's just.
Well, here's the proof I have. He looks gay and he looks Mormon.
Oh my god!
But that's just the theory.
Hey, why don't you pick up this loot box? It's got ginger ale. It's got everything you need.
Pick up our gay Mormon loot box. You might like it.
So yeah, I guess this episode is dedicated to completely shitting on people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. While we're completely shitting on people, and the fact that for some reason, whenever MatPat is shilling loot boxes, he inexplicably turns into Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I know about the loot box. I know about the loot box.
What is?
Now I'm just picturing before every video, MatPat dances in the cellar and drinks paint. That's what he does. It's his ritual.
Oh, well, he records in a closet, because I remember seeing that in a video once where like they just like come up, like they open a closet and he goes, "Oh god, there's another FNAF game." And I'm looking at it going, "No, that's where you fucking record. I record in closets. You don't have a recording room."
Now, is there like writing on the wall, like in badly written Charlie speak, where it's like, Freddy bad, purple guy no like?
Purple guy question mark? I would like
Bowser is Peach?
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if MatPat did just like 3 lines of coke before recording those voiceovers, because just how do you work your voice into that and not hate yourself?
Yeah, that's a perplexing thing, is that he has developed such a ridiculous ego for himself. And we're going to get into the problems with that, and the biggest problem of all, I'm sure very soon, and more, just the idea of explained in theory to begin with. But before we do that, we should probably address the recent kerfuffle, very minor kerfuffle.
Yes, as you may know, Dead Palette was caught in a truck stop bathroom on camera. You may have seen the World Star clip.
CG. That was all CG.
Sure.
CGI. Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
My asshole does not open up that far.
Well, not with that attitude.
But anyway, you were trying to get us back on track with the kerfuffle that happened.
No, so
the previous episode of the Hyper-Realists.
Yes. Where we were talking. That's the show we're doing right now.
Oh.
Hyper-Realists. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. All of us.
I got to be perfectly honest with you. I've done like 2 types of drugs before I started this. I thought we were just shooting the shit.
Okay. No, so what happened was we did an episode on moderation and how it is theoretically always going to be a problem no matter what you do. That doesn't mean that we hate moderation, because obviously there are reasons why you would want that, to go cultivate a specific kind of writing, say for instance ashcan horror or what have you. So bearing that in mind, we were criticizing the shit out of No Sleep, but we also mentioned the Creepypasta Wikia in the same breath, and it kind of came off like we were conflating the two as being equally bad, even though No Sleep is really, really bad about this.
Mm-hmm.
And the Creepypasta Wikia tends to err on the side of letting stuff in as opposed to just randomly deleting stuff. And some moderators took exception to that. I think missing that we weren't really shitting on them. We were just pointing out a problem that's going to exist no matter what.
Now, would you say that the moderators rolled up in the comments like the Warriors or like the Lollipop Guild? Which would you more say they were like?
I would say that they... I would say that they were like the Warriors, but they were all very short.
There you go. The short. Oh man, they should remake that movie with all short cast. That would be awesome. Like you hear the bottles clinking, but you can't see anybody in the driver's seat.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, that's disconcerting, because we didn't mean to, imply that the Creepypasta Wikia is full of super inept people, although that has historically been true. It's not so true now. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And we were more also exploring the concept of what happens if someone let's say that someone registers creepypasta.com and then doesn't give a shit about it and then just uses it to promote their friends.
Right.
What if someone registers a Wikia and does the same thing? What if someone who ends up being the admin or whatever the term is on Reddit, who creates the biggest creepypasta subreddit, ends up being an asshole? Like, these are going to be problems, and that's more what we were discussing. Less targeted at a specific group besides No Sleep, who it was obviously targeted at wholly.
And one thing I forgot to mention, and this probably would have helped illustrate things a bit more. One thing I forgot to mention is creepypastanetwork.com. That was a site where people, I believe it was like a forum format, and people,
and that's where I met you, for like actually started talking to you for the first time.
What? No.
Yeah.
No. I was never registered on creepypastanetwork.com. That's a
Sure.
lie. That's a lie. But yeah, the creepypastanetwork.com, it was a forum. People posted their creepypastas there. People talked about creepypasta, etc. And at one point, I guess it had server issues or something to do with the upkeep, and the site just went away. And so I've heard, from multiple people, and when I say multiple, I mean like 2 or 3, over the years, who were like, yeah, that was a shame that closed. I wish I had my stories from it. And, so I'm like...
don't worry. Don't worry, because it reroutes now to MrCreepypasta.com, and
Right.
it's actually pretty funny to look at right now. All it has is some error text saying, vid count 5, 4, large vid, yes.
Charlie has taken over another website. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I come from that thing of like creepypastanetwork.com, people saying, I wish I still had my stories, now that it's gone and they're all gone. So when people talk about deleting stuff, I always figure, it's kind of a tough thing. Somebody may not be able to access their story again. And on Reddit, I know that there are certain ways you can see your posts even if it's deleted. Wikia pages, I know things can be returned, restored. You can look in histories, but
which
there's
was something
there's
that was
other
clarified
things
for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but there's plenty of sites and services where, like Creepypasta Network, where once something is gone, it's gone. And if you're talking about another, I mean, wikis, every so often, there's like there can be like a purge of the history of the previous edits, and I don't know if Wikia does that, but I have been on other wikis, where every once in a while it's like, to alleviate the server, we're deleting all history up to 2012 or whatever, whatever year it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, then it's completely gone. But I mean, so there's always that thing of, I would rather err on the side of people definitely having access to their story before it's gone, so.
Yeah, and so we've addressed that. There is room for error. As long as there is room for error, we're going to have concerns no matter what.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we necessarily blanket oppose moderation. That said, thank you, Travis Kuhlman and Cleric of Madness, for being cool and somewhat understanding. We really didn't mean to get into shit with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're not ones to... Go ahead, sorry.
But if anyone at No Sleep wants to yell at us, we'll yell back. Because Jesus fucking Christ, that's a train wreck.
So I had a story deleted on No Sleep at 3 o'clock this morning.
Oh.
I got woken up by that because my phone went off.
Now, was this a story that was up previously, or?
No, it was my Ghost Pasta entry.
Oh,
and
of course.
that one, of course, is, I guess, a little bit of fringe horror, maybe. But yeah, no, that's not a story, and it's not horror. So,
Oh, man.
No
Sleep, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
For
Speaking
sale.
of which,
For sale, baby shoes never worn. That's not a story. Deleted.
I will be reading that story in October.
Sweet.
That's the month with the horror stuff.
There you go. But yeah, so
Valentine's
let's get
Thanksgiving
the shitting
terrifying.
on MatPat.
yeah, I was gonna say, we're not here to shit on anybody now about MatPat. If I think in an alternate timeline, MatPat probably right now is breaking theories on things that are very interesting and in depth and focused, and revealing the hidden inner stories behind franchises we all know and love. But we live in this reality where Donald Trump is president, so Because everybody thinks we're in an alternate timeline. So, MatPat sucks. So there we go.
I just opened up the game theory page because I haven't even looked at what he's been doing lately. The first one is just titled "Sonic is lying." Ellipsis again, and the thumbnail is just Sonic looking at a Chaos Emerald with going, "Huh?"
Sonic is lying.
You can't take him seriously. And it's very clear that he's shifting to, I gotta cater to kids and people under 11 because that's, where I'm getting most of my views, which he did to himself because he wouldn't stop covering FNAF. But, good lord, kids are smarter than this, or at least I hope they are.
No, they're not. Shut up. No, they're not. I work with kids. No, they talk about this stuff all the goddamn time. You have no idea. So here's the thing, is this is my biggest problem with him. And I know that this is more tangential to horror, but this is important because it deals with criticism and analysis and the state of YouTube. He does not chase quality anymore. He chases analytics wholly. And so he has been consumed by this goal of building up subscribers and has forgotten that the subscribers were supposed to be learning something. It was all about tangential learning. It was like, hey, what can we learn about police brutality and race relations through something like Earthbound, And that's great. And it's like, hey, let's use the green drink from Zelda as an exploration of health foods and how they're not really healthy like people say they are, and it's kind of like a myth-busting thing. Okay. And then he just kind of went off the rails and no longer is actually teaching you about real-world stuff. And that was the whole conceit,
Is Waluigi circumcised?
I don't know.
By the way, he is not circumcised. That actually has been said. But I think the whole thing is, and I should say before we go too much further that we're sort of using MatPat as a lens through which we're viewing, I guess, something probably launched by MatPat and influenced heavily by MatPat. So what more perfect person to look at, which is the entirety of this trend on YouTube of explained or theory videos where it's Petscop explained, Ben Drowned explained, that type of thing, plus, these alternate theories. Is this about that? Is this really this? So, I mean, it's it will sound a lot like we're just, and, for the most part, I guess we are just shitting on MatPat. But it is sort of like a greater picture, too, about how, you could take any number of explained channels or theory channels and substitute their name in where we're mentioning MatPat, and a lot of it will still be true, and a lot of it will still, be the same exact sort of thing that's going on now. So
the reason we're specifically shitting on MatPat is because, he can't handle criticism at all. He's a giant baby about it, and it's just like, I thought you did loot box. And so he... Recently, there were a number of people who made videos calling him out on his bullshit and saying, hey, the things that you're positing as theories nowadays aren't really theories. We really cared about your content. We used to watch you when you had X number of subscribers, which is the case for me. I watched him when he had 10,000 subscribers, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. And we feel that he has missed the mark and is now just catering to kids. And he, just like a myriad of criticisms. And he made a video just basically kind of shitting on these people and saying, no, you're wrong. Just a loot box. Just a loot box. And so up until that point, he never really addressed the criticism. And now that he's addressing it to lampshade it and say no, it's not the case, and so it says things like, no, the stuff I do now is way more in depth, and it's like, no, what? You actually
no,
you actually used to get off your ass and would do hard math
let's revisit the fact that Sonic is lying again. But yeah.
And that's the thing is, I don't have a problem with the concept of an alternate theory or something like a explained video, but they need to make sense in terms of alternate theory kinds of things that are truly interesting come along once in a blue moon, you know?
Right.
They're not very often. And so he'll take things that are well known as being alternate theories, like the idea that shit. Cut me stumbling through this hell.
No.
Shit, what the fuck is the name of that game?
Give us a description.
I got it.
Okay.
So him like saying Majora's Mask is actually a representation of the stages of loss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that's a well-established thing that you're taking from other people who have thought of it, not really citing your sources, and then positing it as like your own theory. And that's kind of lame, like, to do that.
I sort of can, maybe this would be a good time to bring up the idea that I wrote that Mario is a monster creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about Mario being like a psychopath and, sociopath, etc. And not 2 months after that was posted, comes up the game theory video, Mario is a psychopath, and it's like some of the same things, and I'm like, but at the time I was like, nah. But now that there's so much, as you said, there's so many things where people say, you're just taking this from Reddit, or you're just taking this from somewhere else. I'm like, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
Is MatPat a giant fucking plagiarist? Who knows? Fuck you, game theory.
No, this would be one of those ones where it's like, but is MatPat a giant plagiarist? And then the music would get, like, meaningful, and it would be like, listen, once in a while, everything is a little similar to something else. And that doesn't mean that it's plagiarism. One of those meaningful endings, where it's like, World War II was really bad. But,
were the Nazis the good guys?
Was World War II actually World War One?
Oh, wow.
Fuck you, history.
Oh, man.
I think my biggest problem with MatPat's videos, and I don't recall if he used to do this back when he was like actually halfway decent, but in his videos now, he'll kind of frame each one with, this is a theory, we're the game theorists, but then the middle and the biggest portion of the video, of course, is the language is so slighted to be like, I found this and then linked it to this, and then I discovered the truth, with like not bringing up, oh, by the way, this is just a theory of mine. So it's very insidious of whoever's viewing it, and like doesn't see through the bullshit. They're like, oh yeah, that's got to be it, and then they'll go argue with that without actually thinking for themselves.
Yeah, it's that thing of I guess maybe it has to do with hiring on additional writers or hiring on other production people that sort of along the way you lose that thread of how it's to be phrased, and how from what point of view the script should be written.
Well, at some point he started hiding behind, look, I put a disclaimer at the end of every video that's just a game theory,
right?
And like I think it's like, yeah, but that doesn't, disclaimers should be at the beginning, not the end of a video, when people are clicking off because I know it's over. So it's very suspicious and very clear he's just phoning this shit in.
Yeah, just make a 20-minute video where half of it is an advertisement for loot box. Make a 20-minute video where you're like, did Saudi nationals do 9/11? Did the Illuminati knock down the Twin Towers? Well, let's explore this. And then you do a 20-minute video, and then you're like, it's probably not true, but that's just a theory. And then it's just like, no, you're positing something as being the truth, no matter how much you try and say it's a theory.
Well, it's sort of, too, I mean, there's that tendency for people to say, for the purposes of this video, this is fiction. Now let me tell you what happened when I worked at McDonald's, So it's like, so I don't get sued. So there's like, I think there's almost that thing that people have built in where a lot of times, people will probably say, oh, he's just saying it's a theory because, he has to cover his ass. But really it's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't really disclose much, but, when I was working for this company, we actually, buried a bunch of mangled corpses, but, but it's
When
fiction.
I worked for YouTube, I chased analytics and nothing else, making sure that all I did was get the numbers up. Didn't care about anything else. Get them numbers up.
Oh, man.
It's very funny that he's taking criticism so personally enough to make a 9-minute bullshit response, because if you're just working YouTube and working the algorithm and you don't give a shit what you're doing and you're being very, very successful at it, why do you care what people say?
Because it's cracks in his ego. Because he has a giant, giant fucking ego.
Oh man, it's just weird to me. I think from his Draw My Life video or whatever that YouTubers do, he said he was like a neuroscience major or something very, very technical and scientific, and he said, and I used that ability to eventually apply it to my videos. But before that, I was putting out hundreds of resumes a week trying to get a job in neuroscience. And I'm just thinking, you used to be like someone who gave a shit about facts. Well, how did you get here?
What's wrong with his mind, Doctor? Well, this is just a theory.
I think you find that there's a loot box between both the lobes. Let's take a look.
I mean, and, the thing is, too, like, I can't stand this idea that, like, Petscop. For anybody listening, Petscop is an ARG, or it's basically a video series that's out now of this guy playing this fictional game and, going through it, and it's sort of like a haunted game type thing, where he's discovering creepy things and stuff like that, and it's like a thing everybody can watch, and you can view along and see what the gamer finds as he's going through the game, and you kind of know it's not real, but you're kind of like invested, like, where's he going with this? But all these videos, the minute that became popular, and Petscop, isn't even like finished. I think it was up to like 5 or 6 videos at that point, and when it started to become popular and get traction, all these videos, Petscop explained what Petscop is really about. Petscop is about this, Petscop is that, and it was like, can you just let it finish? Can you just let it continue a little bit? Do you have to be like, Petscop is really about? Like, you don't fucking know. It's just that thing of getting the
trend chasing
analytics.
Problem.
Again,
that's the trend chasing problem right there. Is just like, I'm going to capitalize this with no respect to the people making it. And you can see videos. You can tell when someone is trying to aggrandize the thing they're talking about rather than themselves.
right?
But everything on this channel is just in aggrandizement of the person making it and the audience. Like, hey, you theorist, you're a good person and you're smarter than all the other kids at school to bully you.
Are other kids bullying you because you're very smart and attractive? That's just a theory.
It's pretty much that.
Buy loot box. I think the benefit of them doing, like, hopping on something super early that has even the slightest whiff of mystery to it is because if something changes, they can revisit it again with a new video and just say,
God.
Because of recent developments, we get to look into loot boxes.
It doesn't matter how wrong I am about FNAF. I can make more videos about it saying how, no, not ever actually changing my opinion. I'll just stick with the thing I said.
And then saying, because the creator's wrong and I'm right, essentially.
And the scary thing, I think, is that I believe that these videos have informed, like, decisions that creators have gone with. To,
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's, I remember playing that on my channel because I was like, well, people want to see this. I did like one video of it, and I was like, that's Five Nights at Freddy's, everybody. Fucking bye. But, it just was like, I remember in the first game, since I played it and since I watched playthroughs of it to see what the fuck was going on, there was like mention of the fact that the robots or the animatronics had blood on them. And people were like, why is it that the, cleaning crew always is finding, blood on these things and blah, blah. And so people extracted from that and they said, oh, the dead kids are hidden in the suits. And it was like, no, it's because they're killing people and they get blood on them. It doesn't mean that the bodies are hidden in the suits. And of course that.
So if we know that jet fuel can't melt steel beams, how can the blood get on the outside of the suit when the kids are being killed on the inside?
Right. And that pretty much is it. The whole thing was like, I didn't see that anywhere in the game, but that was in all the theory videos and explained videos and the fan videos and all the discussions and things like that, where the kids are in the suits, and these suits which have the bodies of kids in them and blah blah blah. And so you look forward in the franchise, and you've got an actual character who's like a dead body in an animatronic suit, and I'm like, this pretty much was invented by the fans and the theories and everything. And it became the actual canon of the story, So it's kind of an interesting thing.
I'm slightly okay with that if a creator wants to kind of go with fans a bit, especially in a game that very much is minimalist in information and has a very obvious, hey, here's a mystery, without actually, I don't think he ever gave the answers to anything. I'm okay with that. But when you reach into shit like, what do we got here? What's that? Bending the Ink Machine?
Oh god.
Like, okay, it's reminiscent of Disney. That's cool. So there's a big ass conspiracy behind it, right? That it wants to, like, no, dude, there's mysteries and there's just similarities and homages. That doesn't imply that the creator, when they weren't working on the game, they're also drawing up this elaborate conspiracy for YouTube channels to hop on every fucking time a game gets released.
We could probably do an entire podcast about Bendy and the Ink Machine, because I would have some things to say about that. But
I've heard the things you've said about that.
Oh man, but
you stand outside our house and throw a rock at our window, and it's like, let me tell you about Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Hey, have you heard the word about Bendy and the Ink Machine? Here, take this pamphlet. I don't have to come inside.
Take this loot box.
Take this loot box. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I guess, how much do we think, what do we think the influence is between game theory type videos, the explained or theory videos, and the alternate theory, like creepypastas?
I
do
would
we
say
think one informed the other? Or? Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think he kind of aped that at points, purposely.
You think that MatPat and people similar to MatPat, sort of mimicked the alternate theory creepypastas?
Yeah, so there's a video there's a number of videos by a guy named Jaywitz. He's just some giant fucking Pokemon nerd. and he made a video talking about creepypastas related to Pokemon, and kind of just how stupid they were, and how nonsensical they were, and just telling you what they were and then dismissing them as stupid, just kind of myth busting them. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, that's the opposite of what MatPat does, where he's just like, is this stupid fucking theory I found on the internet true? Probably not, but...
Missing No actually Ash's father? Maybe.
Yes.
He's missing from Ash's life. Game theory.
Mm-hmm. And he has no father.
Mm-hmm.
Missing No.
God.
That's right. Okay. I propose that we ditch this podcast and we make our own theory channel.
Oh man, no,
we're
even
easier. We're already kind of doing that by fucking with people with their clickbait titles.
That's true. Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Even easier than that, we just got to get someone with a camera, send them to urbex environments, claim it's haunted, and make up a bunch of sounds in the background. It's so easy. So much money. No editing. It's great.
So more on the concept of an explained thing, and he doesn't do this as much. It's less of a game theory thing, but you'll see videos that are like, the ending of It explained, and it's like,
What explain
there was
what?
nothing to explain. Why there's
Well,
a
you
part
know,
two?
like, yeah, there's nothing explained, but they then use this opportunity to cut and paste the Wikipedia article on the deadlights and all the stuff that was left out of the movie, which is just the easiest, laziest thing.
I know that this is very much like an altruistic, wide-eyed, optimistic thing, but I just wish we could go back to having things explained that people actually didn't understand, or like the ending of a film, where there's talk in chat rooms and on message boards and on social media where people are like, well, what the fuck was that? That was stupid. Then you could make a video saying, no, you missed, the golden nugget here. You missed the key of the whole thing. Here's why that ending was great. I just wish that it could go back to that, but that is not something you can do multiple times a week in an upload schedule.
And and that's the thing, is it goes back to, we need to make something now, and it doesn't matter if our alternate theory really doesn't make any sense. Let's just slapdash something together and say that it's an alternate theory, because theory is trending. Like, it's a good SEO word to use.
Yeah.
There's a video made by people that I really like called Twin Perfect. They do analysis of horror movies and of the Silent Hill games, and they're kind of controversial figures, but I love these guys. And they made a video called Alien Covenant Actually Explained with Real Answers.
Wow.
And so they're clickbaiting, but at the same time they're trying to let you know, no, we're actually going to be going in depth and explaining what this stuff actually means, and addressing criticisms of the movie, things that people hate about the movie. We're going to explain why they might not actually be problems. And so they're actually explaining a thing in their explanation video. Novel concept.
I remember somebody saying, actually multiple people saying this about Alien Covenant, where they were saying, why are things so oddly sexual? And I'm like, it's fucking Alien! You fucking idiot! Yeah, okay, explain that to people, because people obviously are missing some of this shit.
And I can understand if that was like a young person who maybe just hasn't seen any
Right.
Alien movies because they're kind of dated doing that. But when you're like 30, you really don't have that excuse, and it's very blatant what you're doing.
It's almost like you can go to YouTube to capitalize off a very young audience.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your videos should be safe for a 5-year-old,
Oh, God.
as per YouTube's explanation of what they look for
You know,
in videos.
I really don't envy MatPat and what he's doing, because, as we all know, the algorithm can change on a whim without warning, and it will take like a month to see exactly what's happening and how bad the damage is. So the next time that happens, and he's got to like start doing something he really hates, he's gonna be fucked because of the corner he's walked himself into.
And that's the thing, is I don't feel bad for him, because like he's created this situation for himself, where when you have hollowed out your insides and taken everything out that you believe in, and just have let the YouTube algorithm hand go up your anus like a non-consensual fist at a truck stop. That is a situation you created for yourself. And it's funny, I was just playing Knights of the Old Republic 2, and so in it they explain the philosophies of the Jedi and of the Sith, and the philosophy of the Jedi is that no, you got to do for others, and then the philosophy of the Sith is that no, self-reliance is important, to the point where the Sith crave power, and that's all they want is power, power, power. And so you get these Jedis that fall to the dark side, that fall to the Sith, because they're like, well, if I take some of their teachings on board and get more power, then I'll be able to do the thing that I care about. You know, I'll be able to be altruistic. I'll be able to teach people and everything. But what they miss is that the power is corrupting, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so I'm sure that that's the justification that MatPat made, was like, no, I'll just do a few more clickbait videos. I'll do a few more explain things. I'll do a few more things that sell out my soul in FNAF videos. But it's ultimately just to, teach people. But he's forgotten the whole teaching thing, and he's got absolute power, and he's been corrupted absolutely, and there's no getting him back. He's fucked.
I think
Yeah.
the way I can most relate to this is that, I don't know if either of you have seen it, but I've done like doll maker videos on my channel.
Yeah.
And just because I'm looking for something I can do. Like just something interesting at all. So I figured, well, let me make some, really fucked up dolls and doll makers. And, boom, that gets one of the highest views that I've gotten in a while. So I made a few more of them. And, so the thing is, my comparison with that is, I know I'm not going to be changing my channel into a doll maker channel, even if I get like 400,000 views per thing. What I might do is make one doll maker video per week with my other videos if I was getting that much views. But I'm not going to be like, what's up, guys? Tormental, the doll queen here, Like, so, I mean, that's the thing is, I think that, as much flack as we would give people like MatPat and people like other, explained theory people, as much flack as we would give them, what they are doing would have been nice in moderation. Like, if you have every so often an episode that's like a bit of a stinker, but yet the kids really dig it, it's kind of like, well, that one was kind of stupid, but, I'm looking forward to what he says about Mega Man in the next one, like, that would be acceptable, but it's like this, it sort of was like an all-in shit show,
And when, like, there's a lot of channels I've followed that should they do that and start chasing trends and stuff, or at least just doing it some of the times, they talk about it. They complain going, yeah, I don't want to do this either, but it gets the clicks. Next week I'm going to do something I want to do.
Right.
And it's like not hard to say that or even grasp your mind around that concept.
I guess, I don't know MatPat personally, of course. So I'm sort of hesitant to say it is definitely like an ego thing, but it just seems...
It's an ego thing.
It just seems so much like you can't admit that you're doing videos that are just for, like, no, these are all gold, like...
But he kind of did, in a way. I remember a video where he first talked about Google Analytics or YouTube Analytics, and the way he talked about it, and the way he like marveled at, oh, well, if you just trace keywords and other things, then you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of loot boxes. Ooh.
Yeah,
it was kind of just, you could see it coming.
You could get more loot boxes with a flop than with a hit. But yeah. Anyway, producers, alternate theories. Anybody?
Yeah, just to fully segue from MatPat into this, when you're that popular, you are a trendsetter, you are an influencer, and it is very clear that a lot of new writers who heard about Creepypasta, probably through MatPat, they gravitate towards just writing pastas that are basically just theories, and they make it dark and horror, quote unquote, and like that's been a very clear trend, and that's why it kind of relates to this stuff.
Right. I guess, I remember, I think the first exposure I had to this side of it, because I had seen game theory videos, and I was like, well, I don't necessarily believe that, but, that is an interesting idea.
Theory.
A theory. And I think I got out of it, like I saw a couple of them, and I think I got out of it before the decline. But what really my big exposure to this was when I was watching Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And
right.
I was watching it and I understood it to be, what it was in my mind and so on and so forth. But I thought to myself, well, let me just see, if I'm fully grasping what this is about. So I looked up, in my wide-eyed innocence, I looked up Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared explained videos. And I was thinking I'll see something where it's like, well, you see, this actually right here showing this is a reference to this other thing and blah, blah, blah. Like solid information. And, of course, it was like, what happened on the date on the calendar? There was a factory fire in, Belgium that killed 200 people. That must be related. And it's like, no, I don't believe that's it. And people saying, this yellow puppet who's known as Manny is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Manny? Where the fuck did that come from? It just was like, this eye-opening thing of, oh, these people are all just saying random shit. Okay, that works too. I was hoping to get some information as to whether or not I was getting the right meaning out of this video, but I guess I'll just be on my way. I'll just go about it. But yeah. Anyway.
It's also hilarious seeing how many videos he's made that are like, what is killing YouTube?
It's just his face for 15 minutes.
I was thinking, is this mirror killing YouTube? People have told me to look in it for the answer, but I can't see it.
I tried looking in my loot box for the answers, but it didn't give me anything. Maybe you guys checking your loot boxes. What, you don't have any loot boxes? Well, let me get you signed up for loot box. That's another thing too, is like how the percentage of the videos that are the percentage of the video that is an advertisement is just fucking criminal. He'll make something that's like 10 minutes and like 3 minutes of it'll be advertisement on top of like YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the question. I don't know this for sure. Does MatPat have a Patreon?
No.
Oh, thank God.
He had a fucking YouTube Red show. He does not need a Patreon.
Okay, good.
And that's the thing, is he would probably be better off if he had a Patreon.
Yeah.
Just stop shilling loot boxes and start doing Patreon instead.
Yeah, because I mean, on top of everything else, that would be like, oh crap. But
no, because if he did Patreon instead, then he would be reliant on his fans,
that's true.
And he wouldn't be getting money from the little kids. That's
true. True.
He would be getting money from the older people who want real fucking theories, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be lazy and intellectually lazy. That said, oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Sounds like you're ready to make a theory video.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm ready to make it. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, because I think that now going forward, it's going to be a bit tougher to be a creator on the internet if you have something that is relatively popular and has a specific meaning that you had in mind, because now everybody's going to tell you, what the meaning of your work was, and it probably won't be what you thought.
And if you go publicly say, no, it was actually about this, the theorist will hop on it and go, which is clearly code for, no, we're all correct, in like some roundabout bullshit way. So you're kind of fucked, like, if you want to even, like, posit your own theory, well, not posit, but explain your own theory and why everyone else is dumb as hell, which would be nice, but
The author himself is clarified. But again, sorry.
It'll get hijacked no matter what.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
If it's successful. What I was going to say is that, oh my god, I lost my train of thought again. No, I didn't.
Jesus Christ.
One of the responses that he had was, no, my fans aren't kids. Look at our YouTube analytics. And it's just like, you mean the self-reported analytics of people telling you, like, the kid that's under 13 years old is not going to say that they're under 13 years old. They're going to say they're 18. so they can watch anything.
I have
Or
to.
Are
a
you
bunch
that-
of kids using their parents' YouTube account just to watch it, and you
Yeah.
know that's 45, so it skews the data.
Yeah,
Thing is, is there a? There has to be some age limit for signing up for YouTube. Like there has to be a minimum age you have to pay. So
I don't know.
I mean, there has to be, because you can't have something where a 5-year-old is literally signing up for a service that's going to collect data and information, and agreeing to a contractual agreement, in the terms of service. So I mean, there has to be some guideline for that, and I should probably have looked that up before we're speaking, but I know for some sites it's like 13 or something like that. So I mean, that if that is the case,
you need to be 13.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if that is the case, which it seems it is, that right there is going to hide all the 8-year-olds that are in the fan base, They're not allowed to have an account, so of course they're quote-unquote 13,
And
which makes them a teenager and not a child, so...
He was legitimately positing that no, we don't. There's no real possibility that our audience is kids because the analytics say so, and it's just like, okay, so this is my proof that you're just like went to the dark side and you're Sith now. You're just denying reality. Like, how could you? There's no possibility that you're this retarded unless you've been corrupted by the power that YouTube has given you.
At my local Food Lion, which is a little redneck grocery store. At this redneck grocery store, they have gumball machines. In one of the gumball machines for like over a year now has been little capsules with Five Nights at Freddy's stickers.
Yep.
Now, I don't see Freddy or Chica or Bonnie or Foxy or the other one. I don't see them on like boxes of Metamucil or Wheaties, like Special K, with Freddy with a big spoonful. I see children's products with Five Nights at Freddy's, and of course there are going to be adults who are into it. There are people who are going to be cosplaying the characters or getting a Hot Topic shirt with Golden Freddy on it or whatever. But, by and large, it would seem to me that the audience is largely children. And, I'm just sticking my neck out there for that guess. So when you're making a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos, I don't see how you can legitimately claim that the majority of viewers would be anything but children. And that's just me. Call me crazy.
And that's the thing, is I'm sure before all of this FNAF stuff took off, I'm sure a good part of his audience were kids, but they were kids watching stuff that wasn't pandering to them. They were kids who were interested in learning about more adult, nuanced opinions on these kinds of things. So they would watch stuff about like, oh, is Sonic really that fast? Blah, blah, blah. And they would actually get math shot into their brain.
Right.
And now what they're getting shot into their brain is like, was the bite of 86 the cause of the Vietnam War? Fuck you, dude.
You wouldn't think so because time flows in one direction. But was One Direction actually the cause of the Vietnam War? What?
Is One Direction purple guy?
Look in your loot box for the answer.
Somebody out there draw, or just Photoshop Zane, which is the only one I know because he's the one that left, I guess. Somebody Photoshop Zane purple. There you go. That's all you got to do. But yeah,
it really it's teaching a lot of people, or I guess influencing a lot of people to not really think for themselves and to go search for the cliff notes and then maybe read the sources, and just like that's how you critically think, is you go to someone else for it. And then you just kind of get, and if you haven't done any research yourself, you are utterly influenced by that new theory you're getting, and it's going to heavily shape your opinion even against others.
Yeah. And like, that's, I guess, primarily, we might be getting a little too deep here, because that seems to primarily be the way that everybody acts these days, is they just go and listen to someone else and what they say about what's going on, and they don't think critically or look at the actual sources of that information.
Yeah, well, when the answer, is going to pop up within like a day of something breaking, it's just, well, why would I go read up on it? Here we go. Like, that's just what I'm used to.
Oh, man. But, yeah. So, I think that we've thoroughly plunged the depths of MatPat's anus here. Is that correct?
In that truck stop?
Yeah, in the truck stop. I think we pretty much have said everything we've got to say. Am I correct in that, or are there any objections?
No, I think that's all I've got on it.
MatPat sucks. Is that what you said?
MatPat sucks, and it's his fault that he sucks. He could have not sucked, but he decided to suck.
Well, all right.
Now he's in that special circle of hell where you're a famous YouTuber, but if you stop making dumbass YouTube videos for a week, you will no longer have a channel and you can't look at any other options.
Yeah. MatPat has become, the Ouroboros of sucking.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, for all eternity in his own personal hell. And on that wonderful, uplifting note, do we want to introduce ourselves at the end of the video or podcast again? Abysme?
Sure. Hi, I'm Abysme. I run a science fiction podcast and a horror podcast for literature. And I have a music channel, just YouTube/Abysme. And yeah.
And Dead Palette?
I'm Dead Palette, and I did 9/11, and that's not a theory. I did it. Here we go.
All right.
Blowing the whistle, now you know.
All right. Well, I think the statute of limitations has expired, so...
Yeah, they're not going to be mad about all those people that died in the towers. They still don't mourn that every year.
Yeah, it's been 16 years. Come on.
It's time passed. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. And I am Tormental, aka Slime Beast, and this is my channel. So fuck you, Game Theory,
and fuck No Sleep.
Yeah.
Fuck No Sleep.
No Sleep. Is No Sleep actually run by literal Nazis?